We finna get into JD and Jared Kushner. Let's talk about it.
Hello, my name is HQ of HQ Reacts. Welcome to my channel. Please do me a favor. Hit the like button, share the stream, and click the notification button for new content. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. How are we doing? Good. So I want to thank the law enforcement officers behind me for being here. I'll answer a few questions, but I want to say just a few things at the outset, just about what I've learned today and what I'm trying to do here. First of all, I want to give a shout out to the Annunciation school shooting families, because the last time I was in Minneapolis, it was, of course, to meet with some of those families. And I understand that a couple of the students have made near miraculous recoveries, and just that was a very special moment for me to be invited into that community at a time of grief. And I hope that all of them know that though I didn't get to see them this particular time, I've been thinking about them and their families quite a bit. Now, to talk about what I am here to do, which is federal law enforcement, to enforce our immigration laws, I want to say just a few things. First of all, I wanted to meet with business leaders, with ICE officers, with local law enforcement to try to understand a little bit better what's going on, so that we can tone down the temperature a little bit, reduce the chaos, but still allow us as a federal government to enforce the American people's immigration laws. That is the purpose of my visit. Now, this is step one or step two of that process. There's going to be a lot of work that follows through from here. I'm happy to talk about that, but I think I learned a few things that were very important. So number one of the things I learned is that the guys behind me are doing an incredible job. And frankly, a lot of the media is lying about the job that they do every single day. Now, it doesn't mean that there aren't occasionally stories out there, there aren't occasionally videos out there that suggest that these guys, or at least some of the people who work for them, are not doing everything right. But very often, if you look at the context of what's going on, you understand that these people are under an incredible amount of duress, an incredible amount of chaos. And because of a few very far left agitators, a lot of these guys are unable to do their jobs without being harassed, without being doxxed, and sometimes without being assaulted. That's totally unacceptable. And that's one of the things that I want to send a message to is, yes, come out and protest me, protest our immigration policy, but do it peacefully. If you assault a law enforcement officer, the Trump administration and the Department of Justice is going to prosecute you to the fullest extent of the law. And I wanted to show some support for these guys who, frankly, are operating in a very, very tough environment. I heard a lot of stories today about that I think drives home just how chaotic the environment on the ground here has already gotten. For example, did you know that within the last, I think, week or so, maybe even more recently than that, you had a couple of ICE officers who were off duty, who had been doxxed online, who were sitting and having a meal at a restaurant in Minneapolis when a bunch of agitators showed up, locked the door, made them feel like they were in danger for their lives. And then, of course, it was federal law enforcement officers who had to come up, lower the temperature on the situation, and actually get those two off-duty officers to a point of safety. Now imagine, if you would, your life and your perspective on law enforcement if you can't even go to a restaurant without some agitators locking the door and making you feel like your life is in danger. That is the environment that has been created, I think, by a lot of very, frankly, far left people, but also by some of the state and local law enforcement officials who could do a much better job in cooperating and working. And by the way, I'm not talking about the cops, who these guys told me on the ground, the cops are very sympathetic to what they're dealing with. I'm talking about the state and local elected law enforcement officials who could do a lot better job in making their lives a little bit easier. And in the process, they would make the lives of all Minneapolis residents easier. And that's what we want. We want to be able to enforce the immigration laws on the one hand, while on the other hand, we want to make sure that people in Minneapolis are able to go about their day. And I want to say just one last point on this. So I heard from a business leader today who told me a very tough story. And I think so much of what's gone wrong in Minneapolis is people not trying to understand the perspective of somebody else. Try to understand what somebody else is experiencing, whether they're a law enforcement officer or anybody in the community here in Minneapolis. So they told me a story about this manufacturing facility where an illegal immigrant was being arrested And as these employees are going into the manufacturing facility, all of a sudden an illegal immigrant shows up. They don't know it's an illegal immigrant. And then a bunch of ICE officers descend. Now, these people just want to go to work. They want to go to work safely. And now all of a sudden there's a major law enforcement operation happening right outside their place of business. Now, from one perspective, I certainly understand why a business leader or why an employee would say, whoa, what's going on? It's a little scary, no matter your position in life, if a bunch of cop cars show up and they're arresting somebody. Now, the additional context is that we know that people online have been encouraging illegal immigrants that one way they can evade arrest is by showing up at a legitimate place of business, making it impossible for these guys to actually enforce our immigration laws. So while I can understand the perspective of somebody who doesn't want to see an arrest happen at their place of work, I can also understand the perspective of our immigration enforcement officers who have to do their job and can't allow a heckler's veto over our immigration enforcement. And so much of what's gone wrong is the failure to do that. And here's the point. We can do a good job of enforcing our immigration laws without the chaos, but it actually requires the cooperation of state and local officials. If you look at blue cities and blue states, red cities and red states, you go to Austin, Texas, or Memphis, Tennessee, you go to the state of Texas, obviously a very red state, or the state of Tennessee, a very red state, but you've got blue cities within those states, you do not have this level of chaos. The reason why things have gotten so out of hand is because of failure of cooperation between the state and local authorities and what these guys are trying to do. We have a ton of resources, a ton of ICE agents in this city right now that I would rather us not have. I'd love to send those guys home. They're not even doing targeted immigration enforcement. They are trying to protect ICE officers who are doing immigration enforcement, because when a crowd surrounds them and these guys call 911, the local officials, the local cops have been told to stand down. So we have people here who aren't even doing immigration enforcement. They're doing force protection, so that if a rioter tries to ruin the life or assault an ICE officer, they're actually protected. Now, why doesn't it make more sense for the local cops to get involved in that situation? Why not just have the mayor or the local officials tell the police officers, you know what, if an ICE officer is being assaulted by a far left agitator, you are invited, you should actually help them. That's what would work out in any normal situation, and that's what happens in nearly every jurisdiction, red or blue, in the United States of America. The reason it hasn't happened here is because the local authorities have been told, stand down, do not help ICE, promote the violence, promote the agitation, but don't do anything to lower the temperature and lower the chaos. That's a problem. Here's another example of how the lack of cooperation between state and local officials makes it harder for us to do our job and turns up the temperature. Let's say, for example, we have a criminal migrant who is a sex offender. And let's say that we've got to go and arrest that person who, Democrat or Republican, wants a sex offender living in their community. I would assume, I would hope that most people don't. But because they're an illegal alien, we don't know their last address. We may have known their address 3 years ago, but we don't know their address now. What we'd like to do is talk to local officials and say, you know what, according to the Medicaid rules, where was the last address this person was domiciled? Or according to a SNAP application, a food stamps application, maybe that could give us insight to where this person is today. Or maybe they had some local court trouble. We could go to the local courthouse or even the local jail and try to find where this criminal sex offender is today. The local authorities have been told, do not cooperate. So these guys are trying to go out and enforce the law. They're trying to arrest sex offenders, but they're trying to do it in an environment where local officials have been told, do not help them, do not provide intelligence about where these sex offenders might be. This is disgraceful. And there are a lot of things that all of us could do better to lower the temperature, but the number one thing that I learned today is that the best way to facilitate reasonable enforcement of the law, but also to lower the chaos in Minneapolis, would be for state and local officials to cooperate. Now, I will say, on one final positive note, I actually think that there's some hope, some reason to think that there's going to be better cooperation in the weeks and months to come. I think that because I've talked to some of the local officials here, I think there are reasons to believe that these people are going to step up and actually ask the cops to protect our ICE officers when they're being assaulted, who are going to ask the local courts to cooperate with getting criminal sex offenders out of our community. That's a good thing. That's the good news, and that's something I'm going to work on when I get back to Washington. But please, if you're a local official, if you're the mayor of this town, if you have any influence over those people, just tell them to cooperate. Because we could have immigration enforcement operate as smoothly and without the chaos that we see in Austin, Texas, or Memphis, Tennessee, or even rural parts of the state of Minnesota. All we need is a little cooperation. I guarantee we're going to do the best to be professional, to respect people's rights, to not do anything that we don't have to do in order to enforce immigration laws, but it would make our lives a lot easier, it would make our officers a lot safer, and it would make Minneapolis much less chaotic if we had a little bit of cooperation from the state and local officials. With that, I'll shut up and take some questions.
Now, J.D. Vance is a manufactured product, and it's a defective product. Unfortunately, they didn't give him empathy or sympathy or anything that relates to caring about other people. So he comes across as fake. That is what he is, and nobody can change that, for one. Two, some goofy in the chat said something about woke culture. That's not a thing. Only you idiots on the right think woke culture is a thing. Woke culture is not a thing. Please shut up about woke culture. That makes no sense. Sound dumb. This opening statement from J.D. Vance is a narrative he's trying to reset the narrative. He's attempting to reset the narrative that has risen up because of them, because of him and the White House and this administration. He's walking into a situation where the public narrative is already against his ass. Videos circulating community, upset accusations of overreach. You guys overreached. You guys did the overreaching. Children are caught up in the enforcement. What was that, a 5-year-old or 2-year-old or something today? That was in the news. Local officials openly resisting federal action. That's wild. So the opening statement does three things. His opening statement does three things. First, it claims moral seriousness. And nothing about this administration is serious. Nothing about the directives and the way they've taken the country is serious. He opens with some tragedy, grief, empathy. It's fake. We can all tell that it's fake. J.D. Vance is the most fakest person that's in the administration. Everything comes across as insincere. Everything. It's this empathy, this sympathy, whatever the hell he's trying to portray. This is meant to establish emotional credibility before the harder defense begins, because he's finna come with another defense. To the public, it feels like it's less like shared grief and more like positioning, as if empathy is being used as credibility. He just doesn't have it. I don't like J.D. Vance because he's fake, and I can tell that he's fake, and he's always been fake ever since he's been on the camera. He's like a once failed homosexual, whatever, according to his past. Second, he redefines the problem. The problem, instead of the controversy being about ICE and their tactics and the fact that they're killing American citizens, putting fear in the community, he reframes the issue as, it's caused by other people, the protesters, media, local officials. You notice that he kept using the far left. Who the fuck is the far left? All them damn people that's out in the street ain't no far left, but you continue to see this administration try to weaponize language against the Democrats. It's good. It works because we got goofies in the chat talking about Democrats did X, Y, and Z. I got to play a video for you goofy MAGA people so we can get this shit straight. The demonization and the destruction of this country has come under the hand of Republicans. Okay. So anyway, he's trying to frame it as though it's far lefty people and protesters and media. That matters because whoever defines the problem controls the solution. That's the way it works. If chaos is the problem, enforcement must be the answer according to him. Okay. Third, he shifts the responsibility downward towards the people. The federal government is portrayed as patient, lawful, restrained, while local leaders are framed as irresponsible, obstructive, problem, chaos. Like they didn't come into the community and bring that chaos with themselves. That this ICE didn't bring this chaos to this community all on their own. This absolves the federal decision makers of the accountability that they have for how enforcement looks and feels on the ground. How the public receives this, how it should be received. Americans, I don't know about nobody else, but J.D. Vance does not make me feel safe. I do not feel comfortable under a J.D. Vance rule in any way, because I know that he's fake, because I know he's manufactured, because I know he lies straight through his teeth. It's though when he says things, he turns around and says a complete opposite when he gets in front of people that he wants to talk to in a different way. He's always fake. His back is never the same. Okay. So all we hear from him is defensiveness. His tone signals that the administration feels attacked. You're attacking me. I'm the victim. It's always a victim. The administration is always victimized somehow. We got to be victim. They're always attacking us. The left. Those protesters, those woke people. It's never about the accountability that they need to take. They never take accountability for what they have done. Okay? They feel attacked. So let's circle wagons. Even people who behave regular, ordinary, normal Americans is being painted and labeled as leftists. So they're trying to paint a narrative and then you already got goofies thinking that Democrats are evil. So they continue to spin the narrative right along with them, right? So people believe immigration laws should be enforced. We get all that. Everybody does. Everybody believes immigration laws should be enforced, but not the way you all are doing it, by killing innocent American people. You shouldn't even be engaging with American people. You should not even be engaging with American people. We shouldn't even know about fucking ICE. We shouldn't even know who the hell ICE people are for them to be doxxed. We shouldn't know jack shit about ICE people, yet we do. Okay? We don't trust this administration. This administration has lost trust. So they're asking us to comply with them, and they haven't illustrated any kind of trust. I'm gonna listen to the question.
Thank you, guys.
This is your question.
Vice President Vance, a local school district here is alleging ICE agents detaining a 5-year-old after preschool on Tuesday. We've also seen multiple American citizens detained by ICE in the last 6 weeks. Are you proud of how your administration is conducting this immigration crisis?
So, is he proud of how their operation is going regarding this 5-year-old detainee?
Well, I'm proud of the fact that we're standing behind law enforcement, and I'm proud of the fact that we're enforcing the country's laws. But, you asked a question about this 5-year-old kid. I actually saw this terrible story while I was coming to Minneapolis. We just left Toledo, Ohio this morning for an economic messaging event. And I see this story, and I'm a father of a 5-year-old, actually, a 5-year-old little boy. And I think to myself, oh my God, this is terrible. How did we arrest a 5-year-old? Well, I do a little bit more follow-up research. And what I find is that the 5-year-old was not arrested, that his dad was an illegal alien. And then when they went to arrest his illegal alien father, the father ran. So the story is that ICE detained a 5-year-old. Well, what are they supposed to do? Are they supposed to let a 5-year-old child freeze to death? Are they not supposed to arrest an illegal alien in the United States of America? If the argument is that you can't arrest people who have violated our laws because they have children, then every single parent is going to be completely given immunity from ever being the subject of law enforcement. That doesn't make any sense. No one thinks that makes any sense. Now, there are so many of these cases like that where if you just understand the context, there have been a number of situations that I've looked into personally where I say, wait a second, we don't want ICE arresting American citizens. They're supposed to be enforcing the immigration laws against illegal aliens. So then I look into it and I find out that the American citizen who was arrested took a swing at an ICE officer. You can't have that happen. And of course they have to defend themselves. And of course they have the right to detain somebody who assaults a law enforcement officer. Now, this is my point. Do we want these things to happen? Do we want these arrests to be so chaotic? No, we don't. These guys want it least of all. But if we had a little cooperation from local and from local and state officials, I think the chaos would go way down in this community.
Now, you notice that he doesn't address the human impact of doing that to a child. He only addresses the legality of it. The public wasn't asking whether officers followed procedure. They were reacting to the image of a child caught in enforcement. But turning it into a logical argument, he sounds crass and cold, like he always does. Nothing he says will get people past this demeanor of his. People here, you're asking the wrong question. What they wanted to hear from J.D. Vance was, we understand how disturbing this looks. We're reevaluating how these situations are handled, and we will handle it in a better manner. Instead, this answer reinforces the idea that trauma is just something that it's just going to be collateral damage. They don't give a damn about one way or the other. They don't care whether you trust them or you don't trust them. He don't care about it. You could tell. There's nothing human about what he said.
Go ahead.
After the Renee Good shooting, sir, the administration seemed to say...
Yeah, well, you can go next.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. I'll take both.
After the Renee Good shooting, sir, the administration seemed to... After the Renee Good shooting, the administration seemed to suggest that ICE officers enjoyed near complete immunity. But today you told the Washington Examiner that when appropriate, the administration might take disciplinary actions against ICE agents. So is that a change in opinion? And if so, why the change in tone?
No, I didn't say, and I don't think any other official within the Trump administration said that officers who engaged in wrongdoing would enjoy immunity. That's absurd. What I did say is that when federal law enforcement officers violate the law, that is typically something that federal officials...
Yeah, you did say something about them having immunity. Yes, you did say that. Yes, you did say that. When you first came out at that presser with Caroline Leavitt, you said they had immunity. Yes, you did.
Would look into. We don't want these guys to have kangaroo courts. We want them to actually have real due process, real investigation, because again, sometimes they're accused of wrongdoing, and it turns out when you learn the context, they didn't actually do anything wrong. But of course, we're going to investigate these things. Of course, we're investigating the Renee Good shooting, but we're investigating them in a way that respects people's rights and that ensures that if somebody did something wrong, yes, they're going to face disciplinary action, but we're not going to judge them in the court of public opinion. I've spoken at length on this particular case. I think that Renee Good's death is a tragedy. I also think that she rammed an ICE officer with her car. So the tragedy here is multi-layered. The tragedy is there was a misunderstanding. The tragedy is that Renee Good lost her life. The tragedy is that you have ICE officers who are going into communities where they're worried that if they call 911, no one's going to come to help them. That is what produces this terrible situation, and it's something state and local officials here in Minnesota could solve.
Yes. Wow. So he's tone deaf as usual. He's tone deaf. He's using the legal argument, focusing on protecting officers and from some unfair judgment without equally acknowledging that they have done civilian harm, that they have hurt the American public. The public hears, or I hear imbalance. I hear that you all don't give a damn how this comes across. You don't give a damn about how this comes across to regular, ordinary Americans. Even people who support law enforcement expect our officials to say clearly and plainly, if we mess up, then we're going to take accountability. This administration is the only one that doesn't take accountability for their actions. They just do things and expect us to accept it. Okay? So the hesitation to say that directly makes me wary of these people, because they say things just to get in front of the camera and then don't take accountability at all. Not one accountability piece has he said ever. Let's go.
Yes, sir.
Could you give us a message towards March for Life tomorrow, especially regarding the cooperation and family values? It's a shame the kids have to get caught up in all this, and towards that, sir.
Well, it is a shame that kids have to get caught up in this. I am speaking at March for Life tomorrow. I'm pro-life, and I'm very excited to speak there. I want to talk about local law enforcement, but I am, as a child, I saw people in my family get arrested. It's terrible. It's heartbreaking. It's chaotic. It's traumatic for the kids. I can recognize that, and I can recognize that we got to support these kids. Well, on the other hand, saying that just because you're a parent doesn't mean that you get complete immunity from law enforcement. And I think we have to hold both of those thoughts in our head at the same time. We've got to be sympathetic to the kids who are caught up in some of these enforcement actions. We've also got to say we have to enforce the law without bias, with fairness, but we've got to enforce the law.
Mr. Vice President. There was a cloud collected a week ago, and their mayor said they haven't heard about this thing in the city, and how does ICE kind of proactively work with these local agencies? Really possibly, and I'm curious how to do that.
You said there was an altercation in St. Cloud.
Yeah. The mayor said that ICE did not communicate with them if they were in the city for immediate operation, but police chiefs did not know about the operation at the time. Could you talk a little bit about proactive communication?
Yeah, it's one of the takeaways. I've talked with these guys before we came on the stage, but during our roundtable and some of the other conversations we've had, communication, we absolutely want to ensure there's good communication between federal officials and state and local officials. And I'm sure that we can do better on that. We absolutely want to make sure that we are communicating, but that also requires a two-way street. And that's the point that I make about state and local officials. These guys.
See, and that's the problem. He is framing it as though local officials and people, regular ordinary individuals who might be involved in the situation, or federal authorities or local authorities, state authorities, are not being reasonable. They're the only ones that are reasonable. We're the only ones that are reasonable. We got that goofy shit in the chat. The chat is saying, oh no, it's always on the left. It's only the Democrats that are unreasonable. It's only the Democrats that are saying stuff that's unreasonable. No. This is a clear case of them on the right. ICE being wrong. ICE doing what is wrong. ICE acting against American citizens. This is obviously on that side of the aisle where they're taking advantage of the narrative. Well, they take advantage of the goofy. So you got people spouting the same talking points as the administration, and the administration came out 5 minutes after the shooting and had a whole script for it. And they've tried to keep that script going, although we know that script is a lie. So no, it's not on the left. This is all on the right. All the negative unaccountability is on the right. And they're trying to make it seem as though they're reasonable. No, you're the unreasonable one. You're not the reasonable people. You're not the one, because your people attacked an American person, which makes you the unreasonable portion.
Will absolutely communicate with state and local officials. They'll tell people if they have to do an enforcement operation in a particular municipality, but part of that is they also want to ensure that if they're communicating about their whereabouts, that's not being used as a weapon against them. Sometimes they tell people where they're going, and then they find out that their agents' faces are on on Reddit or on some social media thread saying, here's this guy, we know he's going to be at this place at this exact time. So that communication has got to be a two-way street. These guys are going to communicate with business leaders, with local officials, with state officials. But we also need the local officials and state officials to do a good job of protecting people when they're in their communities. We're not asking, by the way, we don't want any police officer in this community, in this state, to help us do immigration enforcement. We've got that. But if a protester shows up and that protester turns violent against our immigration officers, we really, really need the cooperation of our local partners. We haven't gotten it yet, but I think if we do, we really can lower the temperature. Yeah.
I'm calling up a question. Those reports say that an ICE memo allowed agents to enter people's houses without a judge's warrant. What do you say to people who say that we're concerned about the violation? How much is time?
Yeah, so I saw that story, and the story is like so much that I read in the mainstream media. It's missing a whole lot of context, and when you appreciate the context, it makes sense. No one is saying, look, there are exceptions. For example, a crazy exception, if somebody is fired at from inside a house, they don't need a warrant to go inside that person's house. There are very narrow exceptions to the warrant requirement where law enforcement officers don't need it.
They're trying to train ICE agents that they can violate your Fourth Amendment right. They're training them to violate it, to figure out how to violate it, for you to allow them in there. Do not allow them into your home. They're breaking the law. They're breaking the Constitution. They're trying to they're trying to force you to violate your own Fourth Amendment or your rights. Don't allow them to do that. He's trying to gloss over the fact that they have been training officers to violate your rights to come into your home. I'm saying be very careful about what they're doing, because that's exactly what they're trying to do, is make you violate your own rights so they can just walk into your house. That's what he's talking about.
A warrant if, for example, they're an imminent threat of their lives. But what we've said and what ICE has proposed, what the Department of Homeland Security really has proposed in the Department of Justice, is that we can get administrative warrants to enforce administrative immigration law. Now, it's possible, I guess, that the courts will say no, and of course, if the courts say no, we would follow that law, but nobody is talking about doing immigration enforcement without a warrant. We're talking about different types of warrants that exist in our system. Typically what happens, not always, but typically in the immigration system, those are handled by administrative law judges. So we're talking about getting warrants from those administrative law judges. And then of course, with other cases, you get judges or you get warrants from a judge. That's very consistent with the practice of American law. I'm sure the courts will weigh in on that, but we're never going to enter somebody's house without some kind of a warrant, unless of course, somebody's firing on an officer or they have to do something in order to protect themselves. Go ahead.
Do you believe that you can forcibly enter with an administrative warrant, or would that be a violation?
Well, our understanding is that you can enforce the immigration laws of the country under an administrative order if you have an administrative warrant. That's what we think. That's our understanding of the law. That's our best faith attempt to understand the law. Again, this is something courts will weigh in on. I won't speak to that, but yes, most immigration law in our country is not done through the criminal system with the judge. It's done through the administrative law system. We're going to continue that practice just as they did in the Biden administration or any other administration.
Was there anything that you heard or saw today that would cause you to come to the president to invoke the Insurrection Act? And then also, did you meet or talk to the ICE agent who's involved in the neighborhood incident?
I did not talk to him today. I talked to some of his colleagues.
I told you they don't want to put out the Insurrection Act. They don't want to put that act out because it's not against black people. What they expected was us black people to come out in the street, and then it'd be justified because some of you white people would be like, yeah, all those Negroes in the street, yeah, you need to get them back in the house. We understand exactly. That's why you don't see a lot of black people out there, because we understand exactly what the president tried to do. The president would have been put the Insurrection Act out there if it would have been black people out there. But we decided we were going to stay home. You all, the white people, got us into this problem. Hispanic people got us into this problem. It's up to you to get us out of this problem, because we're not helping. We tried to help you in November 2024, and you decided that that wasn't the help that you wanted, so you decided to do something else. If that was a street full of black people, he would have been done called for the insurrection, because you would have had white people saying, hell yeah, you got all them Negroes in the street. You need to get them out of the street. You need to get them right there. They're going to rob us. They're going to kill us. They're going to do all that. A lot of y'all would have been doing just that. Just that. So we decided we weren't going to be outside. So that's why you don't see a lot of black people outside. You don't have to believe me. You just have to talk to a lot of black people. That's all. We ain't doing it because it's clown shit show. Because we already know they would have been done killed more than they did black folk. But see, unfortunately, it was a white lady that got killed. It was a white lady that got killed. And now everybody's all up in arms. All up in arms because it was a white person that got killed. More so than they were for the George Floyd, but more so for this young lady, because it never should have happened. I hate that it happened. It never should have happened. But this is a problem that you all white folks have to solve, because no way should ICE be on the street killing folks. But you know what? It is what it is. So y'all just keep on dying. Keep on doing what you do, because we ain't gonna come out there and deal with it. But as long as he ain't did that Insurrection Act, y'all lucky, because it would have been invoked if it would have been us.
Your question on the Insurrection Act is interesting. I've tried to understand this as well as I possibly could. And my understanding is what the Insurrection Act, what invoking the Insurrection Act would allow the federal government to do is that it would allow the federal government to use the military for local law enforcement operations. Right now, we don't think that we need that. Now, the president could change his mind. Of course, things could get worse. But right now, we think that federal law enforcement officers can do the job of federal law enforcement. Now, what I do worry about, again, is if the chaos gets worse, if more and more ICE agents start getting assaulted, if other law enforcement officers start getting assaulted, that would be a real problem. But again, we have so much federal law enforcement resources here right now. We have so many people here that we do not want to have here. I do not want so many ICE officers in Minneapolis right now. I mean, good Lord, it's really, really freaking cold outside. but they're here not even to enforce immigration laws, but to protect the people from the rioters. That's an absurd state of affairs, and we wouldn't need it if we had a little bit more cooperation from the Minneapolis Police Department. Again, the Minneapolis Police Department, my understanding is that the actual beat cops on the ground, they would love to help out, but they're being told by somebody, I don't know if it's Mayor Frey, they're being told by somebody not to cooperate at all. What kind of a person tells their local police don't protect somebody if they're being assaulted by a rioter? It's crazy.
See, and this skips over the fact that you all and your Gestapo tactics ended up killing an innocent woman. This is the problem. You all don't seem to understand that you all killed an innocent woman. And you think it's okay because all of you and your supporters, Kristi Noem and the president, all of you came out and said her death didn't matter. All of you said she deserved to die. All of you said it doesn't matter. She deserved to die. She was out there. She was driving her car. She was about to run over him. All of you said she deserved to die. So therefore, if she deserved to die and we all don't think she deserved to die, then obviously we're in protection mode. We're in defense mode. Everyone is in defense mode that doesn't believe this garbage, okay? Everyone is in defense mode that doesn't believe the garbage, because what this administration did was come out and clearly slam, demean, assassinate her character, and they're doing it in the chat. You got Goofy's doing it in the chat. She wasn't a nice person, so she deserved to die. She wasn't a nice person. She attacked the police, so we got to kill her because she attacked the police. She wasn't a nice person because she decided to run over the policeman. She wasn't a nice woman, so she deserved to die. This is what we're hearing in the chat. A human being deserved to die. So when you say local law enforcement is not helping us, local law enforcement is protecting the people of their state. They're not protecting law enforcement officers who should not even be messing with regular, ordinary individuals. Why would you need to send all of those immigration officers, all ICE, to Minnesota when you're trying to get these criminals, rapists, whatever? You're trying to get all those people. It's not a lot of those people that live in that community. You're not going to get any cooperation from the people in that community. So why would you double down on the efforts and bring all of those people there? No. She deserved to die. She was gay. She deserved to die. She was a woman. She deserved to die. She was aiming the car at the policeman. She deserved to die. She was chewing gum. She deserved to die. She was happy. She said, I'm not mad at you, dude, but she still deserved to die. All of those things that we hear in the chat. She's gay. She wasn't a good woman. Oh, she gave away her kids. She didn't have her children. She was an agitator. She was an ex-wife. She deserved to die. This is all of the things that we hear in the chat. She deserves to die. So therefore, what's his name? Waltz called his people out there to protect his enforcement. The local police. He called his people out there to protect the regular, ordinary citizens that this government doesn't seem or mind to kill. They don't mind. They don't mind killing. They don't mind shooting you. They don't mind killing you. They don't mind doing all those things to y'all. It used to be that they didn't mind killing black folks. Who cares? Kill George Floyd. George Floyd deserved to die. Hell yeah. Got him a foot on the neck and all that good stuff. All of them deserve to die. All them black folks deserve to die. But now they're killing white folks out there. And some of y'all are still out there justifying the fact that they should kill white folks and black folks and Hispanic folks. Some of y'all out there saying that. That's wild. And yet you wonder why Waltz called the regular, ordinary police out there to protect the regular, ordinary citizens. ICE shouldn't even be in freaking Minnesota. ICE should be somewhere else doing something else. Their job is to deal with immigration. You shouldn't have 2, 4, 5, 6,000 people, immigration agents in one city just to deal with the regular folks. This is just something this administration wants to do. And fake ass JD is going right along with it. So it is what it is. Well, I hope y'all kill more white folks. I hope y'all kill more black folks. I hope y'all kill a whole bunch of folks. Because this is what it's come to. Oh no, she's gay. She deserves to die. Oh no, she deserves to die. This is what goofy people in the chat are saying. I don't believe it, of course, but this is what goofy people in the chat are saying. She deserved to die. George Floyd deserved to die. All the people deserve to die. Yeah.
And it's got to stop. Yes.
Earlier this week, local law enforcement accused federal agents of racial profiling. Why are there so many U.S. citizens being caught up in this operation?
Well, I think your question assumes something that's not necessarily in evidence, which is that when there are American citizens who have been caught up in some of these enforcement operations, very often it is people who have assaulted a law enforcement officer. They're not being arrested because they violated the immigration laws. They're being arrested because they punched a federal law enforcement officer. That is a totally reasonable thing. Now, to the accusation of racial profiling, look, it's something that we take very seriously. We will take accusations of racial profiling back to Washington. We'll certainly look into them as they come up. But this is not a group that's going around and looking for people who violated the law based on skin color. They're looking for people who violated the actual law.
No. Don't try to whitewash it. We know the Supreme Court. I know y'all went to the Supreme Court to ask them, can y'all get people based on their accent and their skin color? We know y'all went to the Supreme Court and asked for that, and they gave it to you. On top of other factors, other mitigating factors, but that's the primary factor, because those are the two things that you can see and hear. You can see and hear somebody's color, and you can see and hear somebody's accent. So we know that it's already based on those things. We get it.
The law of our immigration system in this country. And so long as we had more cooperation, I think they could do these things in a much more targeted way. They would actually know where some of the bad guys are. I mean, again, you hear things that are hard to believe, but I've confirmed that they are true. Sex offenders.
No, watch his words. He's going to try to invoke you all's the goofy goofies who fall for it. Oh, let me say murderer. Let me say rapist. Let me say pedophile. Let me say all these words and then get the MAGA goofy crowd all riled up. Yeah, we got to get rid of it. Fall for it again. We got to get rid of those pedophiles. We got to get rid of those people. Watch this. Listen to the way he uses words to get you goofy MAGAs to listen.
Who we're trying to get off the streets, who the local officials won't tell us their last known address. So then the local officials say, oh my God, these guys are doing widespread targeted enforcement operations, when in reality, we would love to just go to one house. The local officials won't tell us which one house to go to.
Mr. Vice President.
Wait a minute, hold on. See, this is dismissal. Of course, it's dismissal through context, of course. While some cases may indeed involve assault, I get all of that. The insistence that stories are misleading, created by the leftists, created by this far left thing, dismisses the whole thing. It dismisses everything as us being gullible or goofies for us believing that you guys are arresting American citizens. We done had proof of that in the last 2 days. That's wild. Most Americans, regular Americans, not you goofy MAGAs, you should be alarmed because he's misinforming people. We know for a fact that you're arresting American citizens. You shouldn't even have anything to do with American citizens. The minute you see an American citizen, you should, as an ICE agent, you should walk right past them to where you know there's illegal immigrants too. You should be rushing right past them, not to say anything to Americans. But y'all engaging the Americans. You're engaging them, and you're fighting them, and you're throwing them to the ground, and you're arresting them, and you're taking them, and you're you're kidnapping them, and you're doing all that shit. So this is telling us we shouldn't believe our lying ass eyes. Okay, our concerns are naivete. Our concerns are not important. Okay, don't react to what you see with your eyes. It's not true. We got a bunch of far left agitators doing all this. The lefties are doing everything. Y'all sound goofy as hell. We're gonna take the last question.
To that question, the local police chiefs have said their own off-duty officers, so police officers, are being targeted because they are a person of color and asked to show their papers. Is that a concern of the administration of the Department of Homeland Security? If local law enforcement says their own officers are being targeted, and they described it as, quote, civil rights violations in our streets.
So I saw one story about this and one local police officer who said this. And look, certainly is it a concern? Absolutely. The first thing we have to figure out is whether it happened or not. And then if it happened, whether there is a good explanation or a bad explanation. And of course, if somebody...
It ain't no good explanation. We already know what the explanation is. The whole point is that you're just targeting people because of their skin color, or you're targeting them because of their accent. We get all of that. It's like, oh, they're just attacking ICE agents. We just have to do what we have to do. We don't know. We can't tell. We don't know. That's wild.
Violated the law, if somebody racially profiled, if somebody violated the rights of one of our fellow citizens, that is something we will take very seriously. What I also would say is that many of the most viral stories of the past couple of weeks have turned out to be, at best, partially true. So we want to...
Very, very dismissive of what goes on. This video doesn't reassure because it's not designed to reassure anybody. This is designed to justify federal power, shift the blame to Walls. Of course, it's to shift the blame to Walls. Shift the blame to Walls. Shift the blame to lefties, to the lefties. They want to control the narrative and minimize the public fear because this is what they want to normalize. This administration keeps answering legal questions to an audience who keeps asking moral and emotional questions. This mismatch is why this appearance is fucked up. JD Vance is a cartoon character. I can't stand him simply because he's fake as hell. He lies to who he needs to lie to. Whenever he gets into a different room, he lies to make sure that they like him. He goes to another room, he lies to make sure they like him there. Okay, so I don't leave thinking he's a good guy. I leave thinking he's a piece of trash who wants to pull the wool over Americans' eyes. So that's the way he is. This is our second. JD Vance is just somebody that's there. For me, JD Vance will always be that fake human being that you can't trust. You can't trust this fake human being. Check this out. Y'all hear about this? I mean, where is that? That board, that $1 billion board that Donald Trump them is there you go. Son-in-law unveils a master plan for the reconstruction, which is wild as hell. Wild as hell to me. That you're the person that's in charge. You're the person that's in charge of pulling it together. So y'all just go over there and take over somebody else's land, somebody else's shit. Y'all just go over there and take it over. Well, we got a plan for y'all. We got a plan for y'all. That's it. We got a plan for y'all. So this is the article. See, let me get this article. Let me pull it. Hold on. Let me pull it together. Let me pull up this article. Let me make sure I have the right article. Hold on. Jared Kushner. Wait a minute. I forgot the article. That's the article. Y'all see me scrolling. Wait a minute. Hold on. Yeah. Let me go back. Here it is. Let me see right here. Here it is. This is the plan. This is the plan. Y'all give me uno momento. Here we go. What is the 180 skyscrapers for Gaza? Trump's son-in-law Kushner unveils master plan for enclave's reconstruction. Make it make sense. Board of Peace. That Board of Peace where they got $1 billion per person who joined the Board of Peace. We have a master plan. There is no plan B. This is what Jared Kushner said, unveiling his vision for post-war Gaza in front of the World Economic Forum at Davos. Okay. So he said, if it fails, he said blame would be easy to ascribe. If Hamas does not demilitarize, that will be what holds back the people of Gaza from achieving their aspirations. What do you mean achieving their aspirations? You don't bomb a house down and then volunteer to manage the survivors. That bogus ass stuff y'all doing. That sentence tells you everything you need to know about the mindset behind this plan. When someone says there's no plan B, they're not expressing confidence about it. They're announcing that the debate about what to do about Gaza is over. Palestinians are not being asked what they want for their future. Y'all just doing what y'all want to do to somebody else's land. The Palestinian people are being informed of what future has already been decided for them, which is crazy as hell to me. Okay. And notice how quickly the blame is assigned when it comes to this. If this fails, if Gaza does not prosper, if Gaza doesn't make this shit happen, if people resist, the responsibility is preloaded onto the Palestinians' backs. That framing erases the reality that Gaza has been devastated and blockaded and controlled long before this plan was ever announced. This is not neutral. This is controlling the narrative about this freaking. This is wild. So the presentation, which felt somewhat rushed, took place immediately after the signing of the charter. Okay, Kushner, the president's son-in-law, who played the leading role in brokering that agreement, leaned into optimism. He said, "There one notable omission: the International Stabilization Force, a key part of the Trump original ceasefire plan for the Gaza Strip. Here's a look at some of the key points." This is wild. This is where. See, I'm almost embarrassed. It's almost embarrassing. You know, this is where it becomes clear about how we got here. This Board of Peace thing was not created for the Palestinians. It's not created for the Palestinians. They don't care. It was not the result of Palestinians' elections or public consent. It was created under the Trump authority outside Gaza, after Gaza had already been reduced to rubble. They don't have no ceasefire over there. Them Israelis is breaking them people off. Them Israelis is trying to get rid of those people, those Gaza people. I'm trying to break it down so you understand it, Brooks Briel. So goofy people like you understand it. Okay? I'm breaking it down for goofy people like you. Okay? The Gaza people don't have anything to do with this. They may say there's a council, but there ain't no council. This matters because they gonna rebuild. They got $1 billion. They don't have no money to rebuild. Every country on this planet could give them money and let them rebuild and do their own thing. They could do their own thing. Okay. Governance structures are built after destruction. I get that. They're not collaborative, but by default, they're imposed. The absence of the International Stabilization Force, is that what it's called, Stabilization Force? Is not a technical oversight. It removes a neutral buffer and leaves the control concentrated in the hands of those who already hold power. They've been bombing these people ever since they've been there. They've been trying to get rid of these people all this time. So they're getting rid of all these people. And this is the way they're doing it. Yellow areas is where they live. How would you feel if you had a piece of land, and somebody came over to your piece of land and told you where, when, and how to do whatever they wanted to do with your land? They telling them what they want to do with their land. Okay? They telling them what they want to do with their land. Okay? Listen carefully what Gaza being turned into on the map. This is not being turned into a sovereign place, not a self-governing society. This right here, what they showing you, this is a destination. Tourism. All this pink right here is going to be hotels, luxury hotels, right here. Okay. Luxury hotel. When the hell do these people got time to do that? And then they're going to make the people who live there work for them. Make the people who live there work for them. I don't know what this is. I can't really tell. I think this is like the exit out of the place. I ain't sure. This yellow is the homes. This green is trees and sports arenas and shit like that, and theaters and nightclubs. And this pink is a real expensive beachfront property. Yeah, there you go. Beachfront property. There you go. Tourism, hotel, airport. This is the language of this development. They're not getting any say in what happens there. Okay. When a place is rebuilt primarily for visitors and investors, the people who live there are no longer the priority, which they're not. They become the labor. They become the service providers. They become background figures in their own land. At New Raha, I think this is New Raha right here with this orange tip, more than 100,000 permanent housing units would be built, along with 200 schools and more than 75 medical facilities. New Gaza is intended to be a center for industry with the aim of achieving employment. So y'all get to work in your own country. Y'all don't get to say nothing about your country, but you get to work there. The scale is enormous. We get it. 2 years of Israeli bombardment have left more than 80% of Gaza's buildings damaged or destroyed. Yes, of course, of course. I could have sworn that Palestine had all of that land, and then Israel came along and decided that they wanted it, and there was a fight between them in 1939, 37, or some shit like that, and NATO decided they were going to separate the land, and then Israel, over years and years, started taking over more and more of the Palestinian line, even though the NATO had separated it, I guess. Okay. No, I'm not willfully ignorant. I know for a fact this is what came down. I don't know the motivations between it, but I do know NATO separated Israel and Gaza. And I do know Israel and Palestine. And I knew Palestine was there. And I know Palestine was there first. Okay. It wasn't NATO. Who was it that told them they had to separate? Who drew the lines, the maps? It was NATO who drew the lines and the maps. It was 1937 or 39. I know what the hell I'm talking about. Shut y'all's ass up. So this sounds generous on the surface. It does. But look at what is missing. There's no mention of political rights, no discussion of the borders, no elections, no Palestinian state. This is not a national vision. This is something that they want. This is something that Jared and Donald Trump came up with. That $100 billion, that board of, what the hell is it? The board of peace? That's the board that with everybody who has to put $1 billion in. Wait a minute, hold up. Did Donald Trump put $1 billion into that fund too? And where did he get $1 billion from if he put $1 billion in there too? Where did Donald Trump get $1 billion from? Is that the American people's money that we find out that he's using? I bet you it's the American people's money. I bet you it is. Okay. Gaza is not being redesigned as an economic zone that looks impressive from the outside. It's being made. This is what it's supposed to look like. This is what it's supposed to look like. The new Rafah. Did Donald Trump put $1 billion in? Is this a part of something that Donald Trump put in? Did we as American people, did we invest $1 billion? 100K permanent housing units, 200 education centers, cultural, religious, and vocational centers, medical facilities. This is what it's supposed to look like. Okay. I guess that's okay. This what I know. This ain't what they trying to do. Is this what they trying to do? Jared Kushner displays plans for the post-war Gaza after signing ceremony for the Board of Peace, and he put up these pictures. This is wild, and he put up this picture. So who's going to pay for it? Governments will make the first contribution, of course, $1 billion apiece. In the next couple of weeks, it's $1 billion. He also appealed to the private sector to come forward, promising amazing investment opportunities. How you going, as an Israel, as a Jew, a Jewish person, Jared Kushner, how you going to be in charge of calling people over there to invest in a country that ain't even yours? Okay? Invest in a country that ain't even yours. I know it's a little risky to be investing in a place like this, but we need you to come. Take faith, invest in the people. What you mean invest in the people? What people? What people you investing in? You ain't investing in nothing. While senior Palestinian officials have been slow to react to Kushner's presentation, criticism from elsewhere has highlighted the sense that their powerlessness is being exploited. Of course, it is. Governments will make the first contributions, according to them, with initial announcements expected at a conference in Washington. Of course, this is where the danger comes in. Danger becomes structural. Entry into this rebuilding effort is reportedly tied to those billions of dollars that everybody got to put in there. Everybody has to contribute $1 billion. Okay, $1 billion. That is not aid, that is stakeholding. So when governments and corporations invest in that kind of money, they do not simply help to rebuild. They want to gain leverage. They want to have some say. They want to have a stake. There's influence. So once they got all these outside influencers trying to get in on this, Palestinians ain't going to really have no say. Okay. Palestinians ain't going to have no say. This is how ownership happens without ever using the word ownership. Okay. It says, while senior Palestinian officials are slow to react, Palestinians face a plan to eliminate their very presence based on domestication, subjugation, and control. Palestinian founder of the European Mediterranean Human Rights. This is not fringe outrage. They plan to take y'all country. They taking y'all shit. They taking all your stuff. Israel's military is present in just over half the territory. The original ceasefire plan included an international stabilization force. There ain't no ceasefire. Never was a ceasefire. Never have been a ceasefire. They lied to you goofy goofies. It ain't never been no ceasefire over there. Within an hour of them calling a ceasefire, Israelis was back there bombing. Back there killing folks. There ain't never been no ceasefire over there. Them people still getting broke off. They still trying to push all of those Palestinians into the sea. They want to clear that whole deck. They know that. They just want a PR campaign. They just want us to be not. That's why you think Netanyahu is always paying people. They always paying people on the right to defend Israel. All those people on the right get paid money to defend Israel because Netanyahu pays them to defend Israel. Okay, I don't know whether people on the left get money. I'm sure they do, but most people defend Israel because they get paid. And a whole bunch of the influencers online got paid money to defend Israel too. A lot of them got paid to defend Israel. And this is what Netanyahu wanted. Netanyahu wanted people to be, they wanted people to be good. They wanted people to be complacent. No, I need y'all to talk good about Israel. We don't want people to see the pictures. We don't want people to see the pictures of us bombing all the Palestinian people. We don't want you to see the pictures of us killing the Palestinian people or pushing them off their land. We don't want y'all to see that. We don't want the American people to know that. So we want to pay you right-wing influencers. We want to pay y'all in order to promote Israel. And that's exactly what they did. They promoted Israel. Right now, all of them are promoting Israel. Promoting Israel. Oh, we can't go against Israel. We can't do X, Y, and Z. We can't do none of that. Okay? Because you can tell when people get paid. They get paid plenty of money to do it. So there's no ceasefire. They just lied. Okay? They said no weapons, no rebuilding, no compliance, no future. That's what they said. If they continue to have guns, Hamas continues to have guns, there's no weapon. If you don't give up the weapons, there's no rebuilding. If you don't have no compliance, no future. Okay? Then you shouldn't be talking crazy, Pat Yeager. Don't ever come for me. I'm just a messenger. Don't come for me. But you keep coming for me, so you get banned. Okay? The task of overseeing demilitarization will fall to a new technocratic committee made up entirely of Palestinian appointees. Quietly, the Palestinian Authority has expressed concern that the committee threatens its role. So they're trying to figure out what they're going to do. What are they going to do? Palestinians are included on this committee. I get that, but they were not chosen by Palestinians. They are appointed, not elected, and they answer upward, not to the public people. That is administration, not self-rule. Not self-rule. And the sidelining of UNRWA. Okay, I forgot who that was. They're just not an aid provider. It's the backbone of the Palestinian civilization life. And I guess they've been removed. So this is how erasure happens through bureaucracy. So they plan to take over Gaza. They plan to take it over. Simple, simple, simple. This is not being sold as hope. None of this is being sold as hope. Okay? Quietly, the Palestinian Authority has expressed concerns. Of course, they've expressed concerns. Of course. Of course. This is not hope. This is consent. It's under control. It's control. So they're trying to control the narrative about Gaza. No, what we really know is that you guys never ceased fire. We understand all of that. I understand that. I get it. Under the language of benevolence, this is what they're trying to say. They're being benevolent. Investment and rebuilding. No, you're taking over their land and you're trying to make hotels. You're trying to make beachfront property. This is what they're doing. Do you see this right here? This pink is beachfront property. After a land has been ravaged and destroyed and pushed off of their land, people have been subjugated. Now you want to make hotels out of their land and then make them servants for the rest of their life. They don't own jack shit. You don't own shit none. Ain't shit to own. So they being repositioned as visitors and workers in a homeland they no longer control. A place rebuilt for investment, tourist, and geopolitical interests. Them people not interested in helping y'all. They ain't interested in helping us. Where's the golf course? Golf course is somewhere in this green right here. People live in these things. The yellow. People live in the yellow. Golf course, sports centers, nightlife, discos, stores, all that shit is in the green. Okay. All that shit is in the green. This is beachfront property. I think this is the what the hell is that called? Where they bring boats and shit. I can't think of it. And then this is how they come in and out. Okay. So they already done made up the whole thing. How they want it to be. How Jared Kushner put it together. So it's being rebuilt for investment, tourist, and political gain. You don't bomb a house down and then volunteer to manage the survivors and where they stay. You don't call it peace when the people who live there are no longer allowed to own what's there. Okay. You need to get up out of here then. You definitely need to get up out of here. Right here. You need to get up out of here. And I'm going to help you out. Because that's some dumb shit right there. So this is what they're doing with the master plan. You invest $1 billion, and you get to own property and land in Gaza. You get to own a hotel in Gaza. So it's not related to what they want. It's related to what Jared Kushner and the investors want. He's $1 billion investor. That's wild. That y'all just gonna take people's land and do what you want to do. That's what they plan to do. Let's listen to the president with his goofy ass.
And I think Greenland's going very well. It's in negotiation, and I think what we did today was great. It was great. There's going to be a great board. That'll be a board, I think, like no other, right? It's a board like no other. A lot of people joining. We just went out with the letters, and a lot of people are joining. Now we have a flight back, and we'll be landing in 4 hours and 45 minutes, and I'm going to be very late for a dinner, but that'll be okay.
What are some of the elements of the Greenland concept that you can tell? There was
really a negotiation, but it's infinity. The time limit is infinity, meaning there is no time limit. It's forever. It's you hear about 99 years, 50 years. It's forever. That was discussed. We can do anything we want. We can do military. We can do anything we want. And it's being negotiated, and let's see what happens. I think it'll be good.
Would the U.S. have
no price? There's no purchase price.
Would the U.S. have pockets of sovereignty over?
We have a lot of great things in the deal, and don't forget they're also good for Europe because when we're good, they're good, and if we're not good, that's not very good for them because we hold it all together. We're holding it all together.
Does that actually give you control of land in Greenland? Does it give U.S. control ownership of land?
Yeah, whatever we want. Yeah. We're all going to work together, and actually NATO is going to be involved with us. We're going to be doing in conjunction, parts of it in conjunction with NATO, which is really the way it should be.
But to be clear, will the U.S.
We won't have any expense because we're not going to have expense. Other than building the Golden Dome, we're going to build the Golden Dome. And we'll have participation in that also. The cost of the Golden Dome, we'll have participation in that also, meaning with the expense of it. And it'll be like no other. I mean, our technology is incredible.
Is Denmark signed off on this? Are they on board with this concept? Is Denmark on board with this concept?
I think everyone likes it. I mean, I think. I'll let you know in about 2 weeks.
Have you spoken with Denmark about this plan?
Secretary General Mark is a great guy. He's a great guy, and he's spoken to everybody.
And when you spoke with the NATO Secretary General, did you talk about U.S. military presence in Greenland?
We talked about everything, and you saw him yesterday. He was interviewed on Brett Bear, and he was very happy.
See, this president loves to spin bullshit. This is the bullshit, and the fact is, the Republicans in the House and the Senate told him, if you take Greenland by force or you try to get Greenland, we will impeach you. That is what he was told. He got rebuffed. He got rebuffed by Europe. And they told him, hell no, you're not buying Greenland. You're not making any kind of negotiations, anything of the sort. Shut your ass up and go back to the United States. That's exactly what Greenland told him. That's exactly what the Republicans in the House and the Senate told him. You try to take it, and then we're going to impeach you. So now he has to spin it whatever way he needs to spin it in order for it to look good for the goofy goofies. Because the goofy goofies gonna believe whatever he say because they zombies. But we understand exactly what happened. They said before you left, if you go into Greenland in any way, try to take Greenland in any way, then we're going to impeach you. I played that video a couple days ago. Goofy goofies, go look at it. Go look at the United States Senator saying we will impeach him for high crimes and misdemeanors if he tries to invade Greenland. All you goofy goofies got to do is go back and look at the video. I just be lying.
Very convinced this is a good deal for everybody.
How did your conversation go with President Zelensky?
We had a conversation. I've had numerous conversations on Ukraine. It'd be nice to end that war. It costs us nothing. We make money. I don't want to make money, but we make money. Whereas Biden spent $350 billion stupidly and lost a lot of money. But it's not about the money. It's about 25 to 30,000 soldiers a month, mostly soldiers.
Are you ready to
A month of being killed.
Do you think that can you sign the security seal? Are you able to sign that?
Goff and Jared are right now on the way to Moscow, so we'll see how that works out. I had a good meeting, but I've had numerous good meetings with President Zelensky, and it doesn't seem to happen. It's funny. I put out a 35-year war in a day, a 32-year war in 2 days, and other wars. The worst was like 4 days, and this one goes on and on forever.
And y'all know he did send a letter to the Switzerland or the Nobel Peace Prize board and say, seeing as how you didn't feel like giving me the Nobel Peace Prize, I don't feel like being nice to you guys anymore. He sent the letter that says that, right? He said, because y'all didn't give me the Nobel Peace Prize, I don't feel like I have to be nice to you guys anymore. But I bet you he won't take his ass over there trying to get Greenland no more. I bet you he won't do that.
Actually, they may have been more complex.
Do you think that the trilateral that the U.S., Russia, and Ukraine are having in Abu Dhabi this weekend leads to a trilateral between you, Putin, and Zelensky?
Look, it's all good. Anytime we meet, it's good. If you don't meet, nothing's going to happen. I mean, for the first 3 years, nobody met. Under Biden, nobody met. And one thing, if you don't meet, nothing's going to happen. So we are meeting, and we'll see what happens. I hope we can save a lot of lives. That's all.
Mr. President, what kind of concessions does Vladimir?
He doesn't deserve the Nobel Peace Prize. He's done nothing to deserve the Nobel Peace Prize. He's only threatened his allies, alienated our allies, put us on the world stage like we clowns in a clown show. He hasn't done anything that deserves a Nobel Peace Prize. He's tried to do the right thing, but he's always stepped on shit and then brought it into the house. He's always shit the bed on his own. So that's the problem that he has. We're not saying and the only thing is, and this is the beautiful part, which maybe people don't see. He's only doing it so he looks good. He doesn't do it so that he can help America. He's doing it only so he can look good. He's a clown. He always will be a clown. He's a thug. He always will be a thug. He never does anything for the American people. He only does things for himself. And that's why he always will be a clown and never to be able to shine Biden's shoes or Obama's shoes. He's just one big joke. That's why he will never get the Nobel Peace Prize. He just never will, because nobody's going to give it to him.
Mr. President, what kind of concessions does Vladimir Putin need to make at this point?
I mean, he'll make concessions. Everybody's making concessions to get it done. Europe is going to be a part of it. It's got to be a part of it. Look, it's more for Europe than for me. I mean, I'm doing this more for Europe than for me. I'm doing it to save lives, number one. I'm doing it secondarily for Europe. I'm not doing it so much for the U.S. It doesn't affect us very much. Other than the loss of lives, we're not affected by this. It's thousands of miles away. We're separated by an ocean. But I have an ability to get things done like this. And we'll see if I can get it done. I mean, it would never have gotten done. I thought Putin wanted the whole thing. Maybe he does, but he's not gonna be going there unless we don't make a deal. But we had a good meeting today with President Zelensky. I think a very good meeting.
What's the main holdup? What's the main holdup to getting a deal?
The main holdup is the same things that have been holding it up for the last year. Look, this is a war. This is Biden's war. This isn't my war. This is a war that should have never happened. But it's complex because you have beaches and bounds, you have streets, you have rivers, you have everything. You know, where does it end? So it's a little bit complicated. But I've had that in 5 of the other wars. You know, there are beaches and bounds. It's a location. It's boundaries. And I got them done fast in days. And this one is just going on. And, you know, what's happened here is there were times when Putin didn't want to make a deal, times when Zelensky didn't want to make a deal. And it was like opposite times. Now I think they both want to make a deal, but we'll find out.
No, Zelensky wants his land back. Zelensky wants Russia to get up off his territory. Give me my stuff. Get out of my land. You're not getting no more. Either way it goes, Russia don't want to stop. Russia's doing exactly what you tried to do to Greenland, except Russia got the balls to do it all the way and stay there. Ain't nobody stopping him. He don't want to stop him because he admires that person. He admires this Zelensky. No, he admires this Putin. Yeah, Putin.
Did something change that makes you think that Putin and Zelensky now are serious about it?
I'm not making any predictions. There are no changes. I think that President Putin would like to make a deal. I think that President Zelensky would like to make a deal.
What did Zelensky say today? I mean, he came all the way there to meet you. What did he say?
He said he'd like to make a deal. I mean, you know, there's not much you can say. People know the parameters. It's not like, you know, we're discussing things that have been discussed for 6 or 7 months.
I know it was originally a part of Russia. Goofy. I know that. Goofy.
And he came and he said he wants to make a deal. Because I wasn't necessarily sure. I think he should want to make a deal. It's pretty tough. It's really tough for the people of Ukraine. I'll tell you that.
Mr. President,
how they live without heat, where it's 20 degrees below zero, you know, it's very cold. It's very.
Oh, sorry.
That's a colder climate for the most part than Canada. And they live without heat. I asked him, I mean, how do they do that? And he gave me an answer.
Is the board of peace? This board of peace is just to help. It's just a big. It's just a slush fund for this corrupt human being. That's all it is. It's a slush fund for this corrupt human being. Sure. They might try to do some good things. I don't know whether they're good things, but they might try to do some things. But the money, according to the charter, is under the discretion of Donald J. Trump. The money is under the discretion of Donald J. Trump, which basically means he controls the money, which means he gets the say in what the $1 billion goes for. So they're being benevolent to this president.
It's pretty amazing what they do to live. There's no way to live. Yeah.
Back to Greenland. Can you elaborate more on just, we're trying to understand what exactly the concept is here. Is the U.S. going to actually take ownership of it?
We'll have something in 2 weeks. There's a good spirit to get something done, and we have to have a strong freedom. We have to have the ability to do exactly what we want to do. We have a great military. I built a great military. I did this in my first term. And continuation, big continuation. I think what we did with the defense companies was very important because we need things faster. We have the best weapons in the world by far. We showed that last week with Venezuela. We have the best weapons in the world. We have to make them faster.
How would it be any different than the current situation? The U.S. can
much different, much more detailed. much more generous to the United States. It's a much more generous deal, has to be. And we're building a Golden Dome, and you see the way it works. That is so much better for us and for Europe to have that piece of ice covered by the Golden Dome.
You mentioned Venezuela. You've expressed optimism in your relationship with Delcy Rodriguez. Are you glad to let her stay in power?
Well, right now they're very strong leadership. I mean, they're showing very strong leadership.
See, he's talking about, isn't he talking about the Venezuelan people? Weren't those people that are running Venezuela now, weren't they under Maduro? So he's just going to let them continue to do what they do. That's how I know that he doesn't give a damn about the Venezuelan people. Because if he gave a damn about the Venezuelan people, he would change that whole regime. But he didn't change the regime. He just let it stay the way that it is. And he could have, that lady who gave him that, what is that, Nobel Peace Prize? Why didn't he let her take over? Why didn't he move all of those people out of the way and let her take over? No, he left the same regime that was under Maduro in charge, which basically means they're going to still do the same thing. So you Venezuelans are just screwed. You just screwed.
I also spoke with Maria today, and who I like a lot. But Delcy's shown very strong leadership so far, I have to say. And we're moving in, to the United States.
Well, they don't love him. Of course they don't love him. Nobody would love him. He didn't do anything for them. He didn't do anything for them. Of course he doesn't love them. I didn't say he did. I said they think they should love him because they think he liberated them. He didn't liberate jack shit. The same people that's torturing, murdering, scheming and scheming all over him is still there. This is goofy as hell. I don't know who put it up there, but this right here is goofy. Maduro was selected, not elected, just like Biden. Biden got elected. You goofies are in Never Never Land. Just shut your hell up. I don't even want to hear about he didn't win the election. Otherwise, we would have been done overturned it if Biden didn't win the election. He won the election fair and square. Your candidate was shitty back then. He's shitty now. Y'all just don't see it.
Barrels of oil as we speak. You know that. You see it. You see what's happening. Over 50 million barrels of oil is already moved or moving into the United States, and much more to come. And we're working with them, and they'll get some of that, and we're going to get some of that. And it'll be divided up, and our country will become richer, and that means our taxes are going to be going down, and they will do better. Venezuela is going to do better than they've ever done.
So if that continues,
even with us, taking a very fair piece of it, Venezuela will do better by far than they've ever done. Going to be very rich. And she has done a very good job.
Wait a minute, how has she done a very good job? What is he talking about? Do y'all be listening to what he's saying? What is he talking about? That lady gonna be doing the same shit she was doing under Maduro. They're gonna be doing the same thing, suppressing the people, stealing the money, crashing the economy. They're gonna be doing the same damn thing. Because she ain't no smarter and no more on the ball than anybody else. Why do you think the people were trying to get those Maduro and his whole people out of there? Because those people don't plan to do them any good, are not doing them any good. They never were planning to do them any good.
Have you spoken with Jamie Dimon since the lawsuit?
No, I haven't spoken with him. No, he debanked me. So we'll see if that means anything, but I think it should. You shouldn't be debanked. You get debanked if you don't have money or if you default and you have this great company, and all of a sudden I was told, no, you can't do that. It's so wrong. That's so wrong. I don't know what their excuse would be. Maybe their excuse would be the regulators. I don't know. But regardless, I guess it's a good lawsuit because every pundit has come out and said Trump has a great lawsuit here. You're not allowed to do what
this president sues everybody, so we can't take him seriously. Nobody can take him seriously. Nobody. He's a clown on the international and national stage. Okay, y'all remember that phrase from when what's his name? Nixon They said Nixon was one long nightmare, one long national nightmare. This man right here is one long national nightmare. I got to put him on. I got to put him on the same. I got to put him on a worse field than Nixon. Nixon was a corrupt asshole who broke into the Capitol and did X, Y, and Z at the DNC. I get all of that. Boom, boom, boom. But this president has went far and beyond corruption. This president has went far and beyond. This is one long nightmare, and I can't wait for the Grim Reaper. For real, for real, for real, for real.
Maybe Diamond, what he did, he's not allowed to do that. Where do things stand with Iran? The U.S. has got sizable military assets. You know, we have a lot of ships going.
I'm sorry, y'all.
That direction, just in case. We have a big flotilla going in that direction. And we'll see what happens.
No, we not finna do this right here. This is one thing we ain't finna do. We ain't finna act like you are less than a 4th grade education. We're not finna allow you to do this like you don't have a 5th grade education. This is not what we're gonna do. Because you're plenty versed in knowing how to read. Plenty well versed. When somebody tells you that a person has done 100 things that are against the law, a reasonable, normal individual will say to you, well, I got to believe at least 5 of them, at least 5. If somebody comes to you and says a person has done 100 bad things, I don't give a damn if you dismiss 95, 295. They got to be guilty of at least 5 of them. So don't come up here and ask us why this goddamn president. I already told you one of the latest ones. One of the latest ones in which corruption has happened is when he went and took the Venezuelan oil and then sold it on the Qatar market and then pocketed the money into a private account over in Qatar. What part of that is not corrupt? Don't ask me about what the corrupt this president is. He's corrupt through and through. Otherwise, that money would be in the U.S. Treasury, which is not. Which it should be coming to the American people, which it is not. It's in a private account over there that he has access to. Make it make sense.
We have a big force going toward Iran. I'd rather not see anything happen, but we're watching them very closely. I saw 837 hangings on Thursday. They would have been dead. Every one of them would have been hung. This is like from 1,000 years ago. This is an ancient culture. Very smart people, by the way, but it's an ancient culture. 837, mostly.
And this is why this right here, all of this goofy shit right here, this is why I tell you, that's why I tell you goofy goofies to go look the stuff up yourself. You don't have to believe anything that I say. You don't have to believe a thing I say. Go look it up yourself. Okay? That's the wild part about it. Go look up things yourself. Stop looking at Fox News. Stop listening to this president. Go look up independent news sources. Go look up the Qatar news. Go look up the stocks or the bank accounts in Qatar. Don't listen to no news. Go look at that. You ain't got to believe a thing that I say. That's all you got to do is look the facts up yourself. You know how to do your research. According to y'all know how to do research. Go do some research beyond what you do. That's wild that you come in here and say, I'm lying, but you can't prove that I'm not lying. You can't prove that I am lying. That's wild. That's wild. And all y'all got facts and ain't looked up nothing. Nothing. That's wild.
Young men were going to be hung on Thursday. And I said, if you hang those people, you're going to be hit harder than you've ever been hit. It'll make what we did to your Iran nuclear look like peanuts. And an hour before this horrible thing was going to take place, they canceled it. And they actually said they can't.
Of course I'm biased. Of course. That's why I told you I'm biased as hell. I'm a liar. I'm everything. Everything. Now go look it up for yourself. Don't believe nothing. Go look it up for yourself. I lie all the time. I lie all the time. I can't tell the truth. You don't know. You can't believe me on nothing. That's why I told you to go and look it up. That's it. So all you got to do is look it up. You ain't got to believe nothing I say. Go look it up. Go look it up. I'm a liar all day. That's all I do is lie. I'm misinformed. I'm lefty. I'm a terrorist. I'm a libertarian. I'm all those things. But the one thing you can't prove, one thing you can't change is facts. That's the one thing you can't change is facts. You can't change the fact that all of those men all of those nations that donated those billions of dollars to that board of peace, Donald Trump is the one who has access to it. Nobody else. He's the one who has access to it. You can't deny the facts. That's all I'm saying. All I'm saying is go look up the facts. Okay. I'm not gonna prove nothing. I lie all the time. I don't know nothing.
So that they didn't postpone it, they canceled it. So that was a good sign. But we have an armada. We have a massive fleet heading in that direction, and maybe we won't have to use it. We'll see.
You said would you like the supreme leader to step down or to go into exile?
I don't want to get into that, but they know what we're looking for.
You said today that they want to.
These business records. These business, what are you talking about? The business record, the ones where he tried to falsify documents so he could pay Stormy Daniels. Those business records. That's why he got those 34 felonies, campaign money that he used to pay Stormy Daniels off, pay Michael Cohen, all of those good things. Is that what you're talking about? I don't know. I don't know nothing. I lie about shit. I don't know nothing. I don't know nothing. Get one of these maggots to go look this shit up. They know everything. I don't know nothing. I just told you a little bit of the facts. I don't know nothing. I'm lying. It ain't about Stormy Daniels. It ain't about campaign contributions. It ain't about none of that. Michael Cohen's contribution to him breaking law. It ain't about none of that. I lied about that 34 felony. It ain't no 34 felony. But I'm just lying about that.
There's a lot of killing going on.
You said today they want to talk and we'll talk. So if you set something up and they asked you to.
Yeah, I do. I would. That happened. But we've talked to them a lot. They should have made a deal before we hit them with the nuclear, because we really that was a devastating hit. That whole area is out of play. And if they try to do it again, they're gonna have to go to.
Look at the simple retard on my channel trying to tell me what to do about my channel. Look at the simple retard on my channel. Make it make sense.
Another area, we'll hit them there too, just as easily, much more easily. Because that was very advanced. They were building that for 10 years. And they'd have to start anew. So, there was a total obliteration.
Are you still planning to go ahead with those terrorists that you had mentioned and the secondary terrorists, those affected by businesses in Iran, the 25% tariffs?
I am doing that, yeah. We're doing that. If you do business with Iran, you're going to have a tariff of 25%.
And when should that go into effect?
Effect very soon.
Do you think there's a possibility that the UK or France could join the Board of Peace?
Well, I think they're going to want to. Look, most countries, some countries have a prohibition.
He don't want them to join the Board of Peace. He wants all of the corrupt countries to join the Board of Peace. He wants the ones that are willing to do what he says. He wants the ones that are willing to bend the rules to join the board, the Board of Peace. He don't want none of them regular, ordinary people to join the Board of Peace. They already belong to NATO. Who was it? Canada already turned them down for joining the Board of Peace. Or was it Canada or was it? I think it was Canada. or UK. One of them turned him down to join the Board of Peace already. He don't want them people to join the Board of Peace. He want to get that $1 billion in his pocket. But here's the thing. Did he put up $1 billion? And if he put up $1 billion, whose money was it that he put up? Did he put up our money? Did he put up $1 billion of our money? I wonder.
And they're going to their legislatures and getting out. In most countries, the prime minister or the president can sign. You saw a lot of them today. Don't forget, the letter only went out 2 days ago. We had almost 30 people already at very important countries. But there are some countries like Italy who told me she wants to sign. She wants to be desperately, but I think she has to go back to her legislative branch. And we have that with Poland too. He said we want to. I mean, I was the one that endorsed him. He's great, by the way. He's doing a great job, Carol. But he has to get an approval. Some have to get an approval, some don't. Most don't, but some do. They have, a legal requirement to get an approval.
Do you envision being chairman of the Board of Peace past your second term in office?
I have the right to be if I want. I'll decide, see what happens. But they'd like me to be. It's in theory for life, but I'm not sure I want that. But it's going to do great work with Gaza and maybe other things. It could be beyond Gaza. And we'll work in terms of the with the United Nations.
Okay, so he don't plan to circumvent NATO. He just wants a board. He just wants a board to control. Yeah, he just wants a board to control. Like NATO is not in his control. I think he just wants a board to control. And the regular, normal, everyday, average countries are not trying to get involved with this Board of Peace because there could be nefarious things going on. Who knows? He invited our sworn enemy to join the Board of Peace. Make it make sense, y'all. Make it make sense.
I've always said the United Nations has great potential, but they have not lived up to them. And I say 8 wars and I never spoke to them. You'd think I would have spoken to them a lot. But the United Nations has great potential. I think working with the Board of Peace is going to be a good thing for the United Nations.
Can you tell us who your friend pick is?
Why would you need to start the Board of Peace? That's the question. Why would you even need to have started the Board of Peace? Why would you need to do that? Why didn't you just go to NATO and say, hey, let's build up this country. Let's do what we want to do with this country. Why would you need to start a whole nother Board of Peace in order to help build Gaza?
It said a couple of days ago that there would be something in the works where you could take money out of your 401k to help on purchasing a home. Is that something that the administration is working on?
I'm not a huge fan of other people like it. They're talking about taking money out to put a deposit down on a home. And one of the reasons I don't like it is that their 401ks are doing.
What, Reddy? Why is it that you don't understand that your president and the Republican Party are going down the tubes? Why y'all don't understand that y'all MAGAs is the one who destroyed your own party? You MAGAs are the ones who destroyed the Republican Party. Y'all do know that, right? You MAGAs is the one who destroyed the Republican Party. Well, they were going to destroy themselves anyway. They were going to destroy themselves anyway because they don't have any policies, because they only give tariffs, they only give tax cuts, and they only try to take away safety nets. So they don't have any policies. But they were going to destroy themselves. But you MAGAs really put it into play and put it in the gas on the pedal to destruction of your party. That's why you got your ratings are in the tank, because you guys took it to the max. Take it to the max.
So, 401ks are up 80, 90% in some cases. And, you're talking about a lot of people. We're talking about very mainstream. And they're really doing, and the housing market's good, but the 401ks are doing much better than the housing market. I like keeping their 401ks in great shape. I like keeping their 401ks. I'm not a huge fan of putting down a deposit. I'm not. I'm so happy with the way 401ks are doing. But yeah, people tell me they're up 88%.
This right here is what's destroying the Republican Party. This kind of goofy shit right here. This kind of goofy shit right here. This is destroying the Republican Party. That's wild. That's wild that you associate this crooked, half-hearted freak that's brain is mush as God sent. Make it make sense, y'all. Y'all wild.
Over the period of a year, over a full year, it's going to be, I mean, it's going to be close to 100%. Yes.
Can you tell us back to the Board of Peace? Some of the countries are, I think the permanent members contributed $1 billion. What is that money supposed to be for Gaza?
Have already put up $1 billion. Some of the countries have already put up much more than that.
Yeah. What is it for? What is that $1 billion for? Tell us what the $1 billion for. Is it to finish fixing Gaza? What is it for?
That's a lot of money, but it's nothing compared to the value of peace. Peace is so destructive for everyone, even countries that aren't involved. I mean, it's so destructive for everybody when you have wars.
Can you tell us who your Fed pick is, sir? Can you tell us who your Fed pick is?
I'll be telling you soon. No, I have somebody that I think will be very good, but I'm not going to reveal it.
Wall Street? Someone from Wall Street?
Somebody that's very respected, very, very well known, and will do, I think, a very good job.
President Putin has said that he may use frozen Russian assets to pay for his entry to the Board of Peace. Are you inclined to let him do that?
I don't know about that. I mean, I've heard that. Who said that?
President Putin.
It's very interesting. But he said he's going to use his money.
His frozen assets.
If he's using his money, I think that's fine. Yeah. You're talking about where he said this morning.
Yeah, it's the Board of Open Grift. It's the Board of Open Grift. Only $1 billion to join. Only grifters. This is wild. He got y'all to give him $1 billion. $1 billion on the hope and the prayer of getting. The only way you got the assurance that your $1 billion was going to do something is if Jared Kushner and Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu ensured that there wasn't going to be no Palestinian resistance. That's the only way you would be able to put that kind of money up, is if you knew there was not going to be any kind of resistance. Wow. Wow.
He's going to join the Board of Peace, and he's going to make a contribution of $1 billion. Yeah, by using his money. I mean, if he's using his money, that's great. I think it's important to have everybody in.
Are you concerned about the investigation into Jay Powell, making Jay Powell stay longer on?
So here's the thing, y'all. What if the Palestinian people said, we don't want y'all to put no, we just want a very modest place with housing and stores and regular things and this, that, and the third. We just want regular, modest thing. Y'all set up a government and help us get started and just blah, blah, blah. We don't want all of this tourist stuff coming into our country. What do you think those people, what do you think this billionaire, this peace board would say? If these people said, no, we don't want that. We just want a regular, ordinary life like everybody else. What do you think they would say?
The Fed.
No, I'm not concerned. I mean, we'll have to see what happens. He's too late. It's always too late. Despite that, we have interest rates going down. And also...
And here we got another Yahoo on my chat. Why do y'all come into my chat and then decide that you want to insult me? I'm having a good day. I'm having an excellent day. I don't want to go nowhere near there. But if you keep going there, I'm going to take us all there. And then we're going to have some fun. Me calling you all out of your white name. All out of it. You better shut your ass up. And be very careful about what you say to me.
He's, building a small complex, the Fed building, and they're going to be close to $4 billion. It's the most expensive job, and it's a renovation. It's the most expensive job per square foot ever built of any kind. It's either gross incompetence or it's worse.
Are you done with the interviewing people for the job?
I ain't said nothing about Jack. I ain't said nothing about no race. I ain't said nothing about race. You don't want me to go there. I ain't trying to go there. I'm trying to have a conversation about this piece of shit on the screen. Having a conversation about this piece of shit on the screen, don't attack me. That's all y'all got to do is go check it out. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying go check this shit out. If the people say they don't want you to come and put beachfront property in their country, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to continue to do what you want to do with their country? Or are you going to respect the people's wishes?
Were you worried about the market reaction to your tariffs on Monday and Tuesday?
Market reaction's been good. It was up very big today. It was up big yesterday. It's where it started. It's very close to 50,000 for the Dow.
According to the CBO, according to them, we as the American people took up that 96%. We absorbed 96% of Trump's tariffs. All of us paid 96% of the Trump tariffs, and only 4% was overseas was paid for. But we took the absorption of the 96% of the tariffs, which we knew we were going to do, but it is what it is. We in it to win it.
And nobody thought you could be breaking 50,000 during the first year. So we'll see what happens. No, pretty much even, right? Just about even.
The market came up only after you backed away from your threats.
As of yesterday, the market came up very nicely.
On that 10% cap with the credit cards, is that an end?
Ain't nobody lowering no credit cards. Ain't nobody lowering no credit card interest down to no 10%. They would bankrupt the freaking credit card companies, and nobody would be getting credit cards except rich people. Ain't nobody taking no credit cards down to no 10%. It is what it is. And if this president says anything other than that, he's lying. So let's listen to what he says about this 10% taking the credit cards down to 10%. Let's see if he's a liar.
Goal, is it a negotiating point, and are you speaking with certain lawmakers?
People, the credit card companies are getting 28% interest. So a guy goes out, they don't even know it. You know, these are people, regular people. They don't know that they're paying 28%. And then it's a little bit overdue, and they end up having to file for bankruptcy. I'm not going to let that happen. So it's a 1 year 10% cap on credit cards. We have to get that approved by Congress too. So that's not a no-brainer.
Did you say that you
should be a no-brainer?
Sir, did you say that you spoke with Maria Machado today?
Yeah, I told her.
Can you tell us about that conversation?
We have a very good relationship, just to say. She's a good woman, a very nice woman. She's been through a lot. And at the same time, I'll tell you, they're doing a very good job in Venezuela. So it's interesting. I get along with both sides. I get along with everybody but the media. You know, the fake news that I don't get along, but I get along with everybody.
So at what point will you pivot, sir, to at what point will you pivot in Venezuela to say we should have an election there?
Let's see how they do. First of all, they have to, we have to take in a lot of money. We have to get that back. Right now, they're not living well because of what's gone on for years. It's years of socialism and worse. It's really, worse than socialism. But we're going to start drilling very soon. We have the biggest companies in the world. We have them, and they're going to be going in. They're all negotiating right now.
No, they're not going in to drill. Stop lying to the American people. The oil company said, no, thank you. They said, no, thank you. They said, no, thank you. So this president is just lying. If you believe him, well, see, I know he lies right off the cuff. He's lying. Nobody's going into Venezuela and start to drill. They can't. It'll take 5 years at the least to even get started in freaking Venezuela, to have the oil rigs and everything up to par to even pull oil out of the ground. That's wild. Just lying.
And we're representing the nation, and the nation is very thrilled by that because we're really good at this.
And they'll be taking in more money than they ever have, but we'll be taking in a lot of money too. That's going to do two things. It's going to make the United States a lot of money. And it's also, I mean, it's going to make Venezuela a lot of money, but it's also going to bring down oil prices even further. We have oil prices down in many cases to $2.30 a gallon. And in also numerous cases, $1.99 below $2. It was $4.50, $5, $3.90. I mean, prices are coming down very rapidly, including groceries, including just about everything. And they're starting to come down even more. We're getting them low. I inherited very high prices. You know, when they talk about affordability, they caused it. I inherited very high prices, and we've done a great job. Prices have come down a lot. And I would say led by energy. We're pumping more oil right now. We're drilling more oil than at any time in the history of our country by far.
One more on the Fed, if you will.
When you add Venezuela to it, it's a tremendous part of the market.
One more on the Fed, if you will. The Supreme Court seems skeptical of your power to remove Lisa Cook from the board. Your reaction to that?
We'll see. I mean, I listened to some, I read some of it, and I didn't get that impression other than they thought maybe it should have gone through a more normal court system. But nobody was saying she's innocent. What they're saying is maybe it should have been a longer process. But so we'll see what happens.
Back to Iran for a second. We've seen wild variation in the numbers supposedly killed in those protests. Have you seen a reliable estimate about how many people were killed?
Well, nobody knows the number. I mean, it's a lot no matter what. Hey, if it was one person in this country, if it's one person, it's front page news. It's a lot of people. But there's a difference between a lot and 20,000 people. So we'll find out what it is. We're going to find out exactly what it is.
Have you arranged a meeting with health insurance executives? You had mentioned you would have. When will that be taking place?
With the biggest company, yeah. We have. I mean, what I'd like to see is that the money is paid not to the health insurance or not to the insurance companies, directly to the people into a healthcare account, savings account. And the people buy their own healthcare. Now, the Democrats don't like that because they're owned by the insurance companies. The Democrats are owned by the insurance companies. Obamacare, and I said this for a long time, Obamacare was set up by the insurance companies. They made a fortune. 1,000 points, they're going up 1,000, 1,250, 1,359%. That's all the money pouring in. I want the money to go directly to the people. Let the people buy their own health care. Now, their health care is going to be better.
Insurance used to be free. Or it didn't cost as much to get insurance, medical insurance, a long time ago. But the Republicans put it into place where they would, the insurance companies would get paid for providing insurance. The Republicans put that in place where executives, insurance companies would get paid for giving us insurance. The Republicans put that ball into play where they had to pay executives for our insurance, our medical insurance. They did all of that. The Republicans is the one who set these balls in motion. Y'all had to look at the history of this shit. The Republicans are the ones who put this business plan in place to pay motherfuckers to give us insurance. They're the ones who started this. Democrats never started any of this garbage. One day I'm gonna give y'all, I'm gonna go to rundown and tell you what the Republicans actually started, because they always trying to denigrate the Democrats like the Democrats got this shit started. This stuff has been started by the Republicans. Paying insurance companies for insurance was started by the Republicans. There you go. That's simple to say. The insurance companies getting paid was started by the Republicans who passed the bill, and then they started getting paid. The Republicans did that.
And they'll be paying less money. It's going to be amazing. But we have to get the Democrats to support it, most likely. Yeah.
You're going to Iowa on Tuesday. What's your message there ahead of the midterm elections?
Great to the farmers. The farmers have been great. I helped them out when we were going through the difficulty with China, which we solved. China's buying a lot of product right now, as you know. But while we had that negotiation, and I gave them, billions of dollars, and they were very happy. The farmers like Trump, and I like the farmers. I won their vote I won almost all aspects of a lot of. Look at the auto workers, how well I did with the Teamsters, the auto workers. But the farmers have been very special to me, very successful. All 3 terms. I won it all the time. So I think they're really happy, the farmers, with what's happening.
You've expressed some concern, though, about the midterm elections.
My only concern is that presidents never win. What is it, 2 times in 50 years, Democrat or Republican, even.
And you know for sure that you're not going to win. We know for sure that people are rejecting your whole agenda all across the board. Your agenda is being rejected. So we get all of that too. So you might as well get used to investigations, get used to being called a fascist, a Nazi sympathizer. Get used to all of that, President Trump, because it's in your future. Unless the Grim Reaper comes along. We're hoping for the Grim Reaper, though.
I mean, nobody had a better first year than I did. Look at what we've done. We have the greatest economy in the world. We have the greatest investment in a country in history by many times. Nobody's ever had that. Think of it, $18 trillion. We have thousands of businesses being built right now. And they're going to be...
I want to know, nobody ever put in the chat, where is all these businesses that have been being built by this president keeps saying businesses are being built all over the country. Has anybody seen any businesses being built? All I've heard is people getting laid off. That's all I've heard, is that people are getting laid off. Nobody's getting any kind of jobs. X, Y, and Z. This is wild. This president continues to lie every day of the week. If we don't give him no credit, we will say this president lies like a rug.
The opening soon, and it's going to be amazing. Also, the great big beautiful bill kicks in.
Y'all need to be hitting that like button. I hate when I got to tell y'all about the like button. It should be self-explanatory to hit the like button or the hate button or whichever one you want. It's all engagement. And you need to leave comments. You need to call me a fat pig and all that other good stuff. Put it in the comments. I would love to see all of that in the comments. Fat pig, you're a liar. Please prove this. Tell me X, Y, and Z. Put it in the comment section. We'd love to see that. Because I would love to go through every individual comment and cuss your ass out. Because I do it. Whenever I go to every comment I've ever had, and I always engage with you in the comment. Always. You say something crazy, I say something crazy back. So please feel free to like, share, subscribe. Please hit the like button. We love the like button. Please subscribe. You ain't subscribed, because we have fun over here too. 3, put a comment in the comment section. I'll cuss your ass out in the comment section. Do all those good things.
Now and over the next couple of months, that's going to have a huge impact when you have no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. That's going to have a huge impact. Also, the 1-year depreciation is big.
No, it won't, because the food keeps going up. The food keeps going up. Everybody know. Man, come on. Come on now. Y'all done seen hamburger. Y'all done seen ground beef. Y'all done seen all of that. Y'all know that damn food ain't went down. Don't be lying to nobody. Don't be lying to nobody. Y'all know that food ain't went down. Y'all know it ain't went down.
For businesses, they're going to have to hire a lot of people. So I don't think there's ever been anything like it. I think we have a great country. We have a country back. We were a dead country, and now we're great.
How much travel are you going to do this year, campaign travel?
I'm going to do a lot of campaign traveling. I hate to tell you guys, but it's going to keep you employed. Now, we're going to work hard. The only problem with that question is, for whatever reason, it's a deep down psychological reason, sitting presidents that won, even that won big, we won big, all 7 swing states, a popular vote,
Wait, hold on. I know he is not relitigating the 2020. I know he ain't relitigating the damn election. I know he is not doing that. But here he is. Here he is talking about I won the swing states. What is going on with y'all's president? What is going on?
Presidents don't seem to do well in the midterms. I guess over a 50-year period, they won twice. So I don't know what that is. That's something downbeat.
You need to get up out of here.
I'd have to ask you.
Then you need to get up out of here then. What the hell you doing here? You need to get up out of there. You need to get the hell on. That's what you need to get the hell on. Oh, you old. I got it. You old. You old and white. So you definitely vote Republican.
Really a psychiatrist about that. But we should do great. We won the election big. The border is now great. The border is the best we've ever had. The border is the best there is anywhere in the world. Look at some of the European countries, what happened. They wish they had our border. And they tell me that openly. They wish they had our border. And they have to do something about immigration.
Mr. President, many times.
Ain't some people supposed to be coming here? Some people supposed to be coming here for a sports event. FIFA or some shit like that. Some people say they don't want to come here. Them people say they don't even want to come here because they're afraid that they're going. And do you know what the administration said to those people? The administration said to those people, don't wander outside of your hotel and things like that. Don't be sightseeing or touristing so you won't get pulled over, so you won't get targeted. That's wild. That's wild.
How many times do you think you'll meet with the Chinese president this year?
I'm going to make a trip. I'm going in April. He'll come toward the end of the year. And I look forward to seeing President Xi. I've always had, his wife is fantastic. He's an amazing guy.
No, it wasn't. It was Republican. It's definitely Republican. You need to look that up. It was Republicans who passed the law that made it so that they could get paid. You need to look that up.
And I've always had a great relationship. President Xi of China. Always had a great relationship with him. It was a very strained relationship during COVID. But now it's an excellent relationship. Look, you see that. Look at all the farm product they're buying. The soybeans, they're buying a lot of soybeans. That makes our farmers happy. And that makes me happy.
Because stop drinking the Kool-Aid, bro. Stop drinking that Kool-Aid, lady. Ain't no damn immigrants roaming the street, breaking folks off. Ain't no immigrants roaming, illegal immigrants no less. Ain't no illegal immigrants roaming the street, breaking people off, lady. Come on. You gotta get it together. That shit ain't even true. Y'all believe everything. Stop believing everything. Even if you believe half of the stuff, stop believing all of it. Question some of it. At least question some of it. Don't believe it hook, line, and sinker. Are you serious right now?
Thank you very much, everybody.
We saw the bruising on your hand. Are you okay?
Very good. I clipped it on the table.
He clipped his hand on the table, y'all. After having weeks after weeks of having a red wrist from some kind of I'm assuming it's some kind of injection. Instead of having some kind of injection he's been having, he said he clipped it on some kind of whatever he clipped it on, knowing full well that this president is unwell.
So I put a little what do they call it, cream on it, but I clipped it. I would say take aspirin if you like your heart, but don't take aspirin if you don't want to have a little bruising. You know, if you take I take the big aspirin. And when you take the big aspirin, they tell you you're bruised. The doctor said, you don't have to take that, sir. You're very healthy. I said, I'm not taking any chances. So anyway, but that's one of the side effects of taking aspirin. Thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate it.
There ain't a fucking camera he didn't like. Ain't a camera that he didn't like. And you got to love it. It's a camera that you didn't like. But see, I don't like the fact that they like to spin narratives. I don't like the fact that you try to tell me what my brain, what my eyes see, but you try to tell me it's not something other than that. This president disappeared 5 days in the summer. He disappeared 5 days in the summer. There's not a camera this president does not like. Not a camera he does not like. And he disappeared for 5 days. They think he had a stroke within those times, a mild stroke, but a stroke nonetheless. Okay. And he says he take aspirin all the time. Something happened to the president. Because we remember back in the day when he was slurring. Okay. He was slurring. We don't know what happened, but somewhere he disappeared around 5 days. Y'all can go check it out. I ain't lying. Okay. Go check it out. He disappeared somewhere in the summer, about 5 days. Okay. And that's when it occurred. Whatever occurred, it occurred at that time because he never got in front of a camera all that time. So this president has he way above his skis. He is down in the polls. Wild. Wait a minute, hold on. I meant to show you this. Hold on. I meant to show you this. Because people don't believe it. They don't believe it sometimes. And sometimes you just gotta pop out and show motherfuckers. That's all. You just gotta pop out and show motherfuckers. Here, wait a minute, hold on. Here we go. Open this link. Hold on. Here we go. Hold on. Just hold on. Un momento. This is the guys. Okay. Here. Okay. Hold on. Here we go. These are my guys. And every week they come up with the polling. Every week.
And that's what we're seeing.
And you know, Andrew, nobody's going to wake up in the morning and go, "Oh, that biased Siena poll." They're pretty straight up the middle.
This is an accurate poll with a good record.
Yeah.
It's a reliable
an A-tier poll.
Yeah, it's could be one of the best ones.
Yeah.
Now, does that mean it's it's looking into the future? That's not but it does show, I think, and it would be in line with other trends we've been seeing in polling that almost, no matter how you slice the demographics, whether it's by their political leanings or their race or their age, Trump is declining with almost all sections of the United States, all sections of the voting age population. Yep. So this was one of the questions that was included.
I promise you, this is what triggered him.
I'm sure. Because he cares a lot about his legacy. He's so concerned with how he's going to be viewed in the future. 43% of independents say he's going to go down as one of the worst presidents in U.S. history. Down there with somebody like Richard Nixon. Republicans, I think, are, these average, below average people. I think those folks are the sort of Republicans who are just too stubborn to quit. They don't want to say that he's a terrible, evil monster, but they don't really like where it's going. I think that shows.
Those are what I call the anti-Trump Republicans.
Right.
And the anti-Trump Republicans, they don't love Trump, but they hate people who criticize Trump.
Yeah.
They've got a real cultural dig in on not letting the Democrats have a win.
Yeah. And I think what that sort of previews is the softening of the Trump coalition on a lot of angles.
That's right.
It's not that it's collapsed yet, but it seems to be just sort of hollowing out slowly, and we'll see that more, I think, through this year.
Yeah. Why don't you walk us through some of this other stuff from Siena, because I think it's really important to walk through this.
Yeah, we got a couple more slides here on Siena. So this is right track, wrong track. 56% of Americans or U.S. registered voters say that the country's on the wrong track. That's pretty bad.
Pretty bad.
Now, we can't see educational attainment here, unfortunately. But if we could, you could see that he's pretty much neck and neck with non-college whites, which are, the core of his base, 47, 46. When Trump is performing poorly with these non-college whites, that means the MAGA base, the very center of the party that he is standing on, is hollowing out. That means that MAGA in 2026 is not going to show up. And that means that MAGA in 2028 will not be easily passed along to J.D. Vance.
And if you look at that number with women, on the wrong track number with women, that is historically another indicator of recession fears, another indicator of wave elections. 47% of men say we're in the wrong direction, a majority or a plurality, and 64% of women, a big majority, say we're in the wrong direction. That's that should be a red alert for these people.
I think we do have a Siena polling on the economy too, and that does show that women are much more concerned about the situation. So look at this: 46% of women say the economy is poor, while only 29% of men say that. Now, women are often the sort of household administrators who deal with finance. So they might have a closer view of a family's personal finances. And that's maybe where this is showing up.
I think that's right.
I think this is it's another red warning sign that's been flashing for a little bit now. And Trump is of course not heeding any warnings.
No.
But yeah, I think the economy is still the top issue for almost all voters in all polls. But it's starting to show signs that the bottom has fallen out, I would say.
Yeah, I don't know how you end up. And when you've got a majority of 18 to 29-year-olds, which the Trump people in 2024 said, we made all these inroads with young voters, all of that has reversed.
All of it.
There was another piece to this about how all of the gains they made with young men, with African Americans, with Hispanics, particularly men, and with younger voters, they're all completely reversed or more.
Right. Yeah. I think with men, what you'll see, since Trump is not on the ballot, they will probably return to status quo when it comes to a generic Republican. They won't be, especially young men, won't be as enthusiastic about going out and voting for whoever Mike Johnson has picked.
Right.
It really doesn't. So here we go. This is voting intention from the Siena poll again. Democrats up about 5. Really performing a lot better with women. And, Trump's suffering across the board. He's only up 7 with whites. I think, that's not a good sign for a Republican.
Yeah, if he's
this is generic ballot. So Republicans are only up 7 with whites. That's not a big lead with the white voting population for Republicans historically.
Blacks and Hispanics are back in the normal range.
Right. So yeah, there could be sort of a return to status quo. I think that's generally what we're going to see, and that applies to MAGA too. Before 2016, these were sort of low propensity voters, and I don't want to necessarily predict that MAGA's not going to come out ever again. But I expect
they will.
I expect quite a few of them to bleed off in these next 2 elections.
Yeah, I think that's right, and I think again, Trump is not on the ballot.
No.
And because Trump is not on the ballot, that is the secret sauce of 2018 and 2022. Those low propensity Republican voters in those 2 years, when Trump was still, when his popularity in those years was still in the 50s and 60s with Republican or with voters, and it's gone now.
It's gone, and I think what we just saw was this is job handling. So a lot of really interesting stuff here. The country's obviously very polarized over this issue, but the MAGA base, you can see 25% makes up that strongly approved number. And I think, look at the numbers for strongly disapprove versus strongly approve. It's 47 versus 25. And then the middle is practically empty. There's just a 25.
These people are polarized, man.
They're very strongly polarized. And that means, this is a sticky number. So he's going to hover around under 16% approval for the rest of the year, which, historically tells us that it's going to be a wipeout in the midterms.
Yep. It is. None of these numbers, if you're a Republican pollster or strategist, folks, and I've been a consumer of polling for 35 years now. If I looked at that and you were asking me, should I get in this race as a Republican? Should I run this year as a Republican? I'd be like, run away.
Run away. Keep as far away from these elections if you have hopes for a future career as a Republican politician. One of the conclusion here, I think, is that people are turning on Trump and the administration en masse, and there were the people who were sort of soft on him in 2024. They're turning away from him because they see he's focused on all the wrong stuff. So this is a trend that's been sort of building in the polling recently. Trump is focused on the wrong priorities. I think the diplomacy really hurts him, both domestically and abroad. Diplomacy doesn't do shit for MAGA voters. They don't.
They do not care.
They don't care. They like a win with Venezuela. They like to be triumphalist, but ultimately that stuff does not trump their, the sort of anti-woke stuff that drives most of MAGA.
Yeah, the culture war thing is not working for people who are in economic distress.
No, it's not. But, this foreign stuff, it bites him at home because it doesn't do anything with his base.
Yep.
It hurts him with all other demographics, of course. And then it also blows up in his face internationally. So you can see the Brits today are furious. Everyone who's ever fought alongside the United States in Afghanistan or Iraq is really angry. I'm seeing a lot of posts on social media of, veterans from Australia, from Denmark, from Germany, from France, from the UK, all posting photos of themselves in Afghanistan and Iraq.
Yeah. I'm on a group chat. I actually two of my group chats.
So basically, what he's saying is the bottom just fell out. The bottom just fell out of Donald Trump's support. It's been falling out. It is what it is. We can't, you can't turn it around. It is what it is. So you all know you should make sure you take the ride because you're going downhill with this president. But it's okay. You stay on there. You stay on that losing ride all you want to. Nobody else wants to stay on that losing ride. Nobody else is going to stay on it. We are done. Wait a minute. Hold on. We are done with the president, and we are done with the bullshit from this president. We are done with. We just done. People said, hell no, they're not going to deal with him no more. So we just got to deal with what we got to deal with for the next 2 or 3 years or whenever. And hopefully we can get out of the, hopefully we can get off of it. Get off this train because this train is wild. It's just too long. It's too much of a wild ride. And nobody wants this wild ride anymore. It is what it is. We are done with the wild ride. So I'm going to show something to you later on. Hopefully, I'll see you early in the morning. Please hit that like, share, and subscribe. We have content like this every day. Please hit the like, share, and subscribe because I will be back. Of course, I will be back because I'm going to be in y'all face for the past 3-4 days. It is what it is. Please hit that like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate all of that. I do. And leave your comments, because like I told you, I'm going to start cussing you out in the comments. I'm going to stop cussing on here, and I'm going to start cussing in the comments. Please like, share, subscribe. We have fun over here. Hey, I can be a libtard, but you can be a zombie too. Please. What content is this? Stealing people's lives and talking shit. Stealing people's lives and talking shit. I do have a job. Let me tell you about my job. My job is one of the cushiest jobs that I know of. One of the cushiest jobs I know of. I work 2 hours a day, get paid for 8 hours a day. The most cushiest job in the world. There it is. There it is. And I talk to CEOs and GMs and all those kind of people every day. I do that. They listen to what I say. Please hit the like, share, and subscribe. See you tomorrow.